Yo, welcome back to the page. About to film and I just realized my mic is dead, so I hope you guys can hear me. It's just been a chill day, man. Honestly, just a chill Saturday. Really living by myself now. Solitude, you know. Always something I've cherished, always something, being reserved, being who I am. Like, this is natural to me. Obviously, you like being my friends and family, and, I like when I go around, I like when they come around, but I just feel like someone who can thrive being by themselves. You can conquer anything. So I like just being by myself. I like being able just to think about life and things like that. But yeah, this is workout number 2 for today. So just a walk. So yeah, let's just get into the topic for today, which is about solitude, which is this time in my life. I think it's a good one. It's a time where we're moving up. Things are changing, but then I think just moving in by myself also is giving me time to think for myself and think about the things I want to do in my life. Think about my future, what it's gonna look like. Kids, family, wife, where I want to live, what I want to do. It's just life in general, man. The things that are important to me. So I like being out here. I like the peace and quiet, just being able to think. But yeah, this video I'm not gonna talk too much. So yeah, we're just gonna go and get into it, man. Which is point 1: solitude expresses the real you. When you surround yourself around people all the time without even thinking about it, you start performing. Either that's conforming and trying to act like the person you're around, or just trying to be like someone who you think they would want to be around. But when it's just you, it's just yourself, that's really you versus you. That's really who you are, and that's where the real you begins. Your fears, your flaws, your patterns, that's real. It's uncomfortable, but it's honest. And that's where the growth starts. That's when you start to know who you really are, and then you can showcase that to the world. All right, so point number 2: God speaks the loudest in stillness. God doesn't shout over the noise. He waits for the noise to quiet down so that he can speak to you. Most people stay busy to avoid silence, but silence is where the real answers are. I think me and Tim were talking about it in the video before, and we were talking about just how just being quiet, and sometimes, like, even when I'm in the gym, most of the time I don't listen to music. Just being able to take that time. I feel like most people don't take that time to be still and be quiet. They're working out with music, they're sleeping with rain sounds on and sounds on. It's like something always has to distract them. But that's why we call it quiet time, right? Even when you're trying to set that part of time with God. You set a part of quiet time where you read your word, you pray, but then you got to stop to listen, right? And that's where I need to work on. Like, I'm still working on setting that, being consistent in my quiet time, but then it's also like actually listening. There's no point in praying to God and asking for an answer, and then you're not gonna actually sit and listen to it. And that's the part where I have to do better at. Whether that's changing up my routine, changing the time I do my quiet time, or changing how I do it. But being able to sit still and quiet is when God will be able to speak to you, and then He's gonna tell you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. Point number 3, and I think a great place to get to, is you stop needing validation. When you're good alone, you stop chasing praise, you stop chasing approval. You don't need anyone. If you're good with yourself, you're good with who you are, you're good with the person you are. Outside noise can be good, but you don't need that. You don't need that from anyone. You do it yourself, and that carries you a long way in this life. You move different with purpose and permission. That kind of peace, it can't be bought. It's earned in solitude. This video was short. The points were short, but I hope this was good for you. Definitely good for me. Definitely reflective. I mean, it's something that I always live by. Just solitude and silence. But obviously speak when you need to speak. Speak when you have to defend yourself. Speak when it's time to speak. But practice, solitude. Not everyone always has to hear what you have to say. Not everyone is ready to hear what you have to say. You got to pick and choose. Even with that, people respect you more. They respect your time. They respect your opinions because they realize you don't just speak just to speak. You speak when it's important. So definitely take that time for yourself. Even if you're in a crowded, you're a huge family, you're in a crowded place, or you're a place where you can't, like, take time for yourself for solitude, man. It will definitely help you to build yourself up, to build your self-esteem, to build your character, and just prepare you for the world, man. You know, no one's gonna give you more praise than you can give yourself. You know, at the end of the day, you gotta advocate for yourself. So when you take that time to build yourself up, it shows into the world. So thank you guys for watching another video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.